It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello and welcome to Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen.
Ew.
I don't know why I was expecting you to say way more than just the AO. This is like the fourth take, and last time he just outright yelled.
I yelled before he got done with the other part. I thought about it.
And it took us a little while to course correct, but thanks for sitting down with us today. We'll be discussing what movies we've seen lately, which a lot of them were theatrical releases in theaters, which was great, and we got to see them together, which is rare. Also talking about he's flipping me off. Also talking about what new releases are on the horizon, which is a pretty big week with Jurassic World Rebirth. We'll also provide some updates on physical media releases and new notable developments within the world of movies. But first, Corey, how have you been? And secondly, what are we drinking today?
We are drinking a little Michael Ultra today.
Well, Michael, in recognition for our buddy Michael getting engaged.
Yes, congrats to our friends Michael and Abby getting engaged.
This is the beer, like, not to try and stretch connection to this, but this is the beer I think of when I think of Michael.
Yeah.
This is what he drinks.
For sure, yeah. So they got engaged today, which was great. We also saw a movie with our moms today, which was a lot of fun.
Got turned down for a Michelob Ultra there, so that was kind of a salty start to my
and congrats to you for finally learning how to ride a bike.
I knew he was going to bring that up. I sent him a text saying, hey, because he knew that I didn't know how to ride a bike. I'm 25 years old and just freshly new to the bike riding world.
That's
what a terrible sentence. That is a headliner on a bad Tinder. Like, I'm new to bike riding.
That's a talker, though.
Yeah, a little bit. So I just never learned as a kid, and then I got so embarrassed by the fact that I didn't know that I didn't want to, go and try and teach myself and see people oh, is this guy really bad at riding a bike, or is he just new to this, out cold? So I was up north. I was working on some stuff in the garage for my in-laws, and they have a bike, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just hop on this and just bike around, and I'll figure it out. And I was able to just get on it and go. Didn't fall once, so I was proud of that. But also, it's something
Were you
that...
supposed to fucking clap
no,
that you could ride a bike?
No, it's something...
Yeah.
I was going to acknowledge, it's something like a 6-year-old could confidently do, and I can...
Throw you a party? You want me to fucking... What do you want?
The sad thing is I was able to do it. I was just going up and down. They have a long driveway, so I was just going back and forth, hey, I got the hang of this. And then Allie, I was like, do you want to, bike to go get coffee tomorrow morning? She's like, well, I don't know, do you feel that confident yet? I was like, God damn it. Can we just, let me...
Good.
I'm an adult. Just immediately wore on me. I was like, damn it. Shit. So, I did learn how to ride a bike. Big weekend.
That's crazy, bro.
That's crazy, yeah.
But yeah, like I mentioned, after Mason learned how to ride a bike.
Yeah. That is what I'm going to remember this weekend as.
Yeah. We did see a movie with our moms this week. We saw F1. Kind of made it a little tradition the past couple of years. 2 years ago, we saw 80 for Brady. Last year, we saw The Fall Guy. It's become fun. Just
the movies have gotten better, actually, every year.
Yeah, they have. It's all been really fun. So this week, we did see F1 on the Eiffel screen in St. Michael. Just a big fucker.
Yeah.
Just from you walk in and you're at the bottom. And great screen. Love that theater.
One of my favorite theaters in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's really good. And this is the movie starring Brad Pitt as the F1 Formula One driver. Comes out of retirement to team up with the younger driver for Javier Bardem's team that he's putting together. You got Carrie Condon as one of the tech engineer.
Yeah, engineer for the car.
Yeah, so she's there. Damson Idris plays the younger driver that he's kind of mentoring. And this movie's directed by Joseph Kosinski, who has done a lot of great stuff. Top Gun Maverick is his most notable, and he kind of brought over a lot of the same filming techniques from the plane sequences there to the driving sequences. And that's kind of the first thing you got to talk about here. This movie's fucking great.
Yeah.
And the driving, racing sequences are incredible. They're all filmed amazingly, and you're in the cockpit of the cars at some points. Get a lot of great wide shots. You get in between, just a bunch of different cars going. So it's very dynamic and vibrant, and is just a lot of fun. And I've never really watched Formula One before, so I didn't know a lot of the strategy behind Formula One compared to NASCAR, really.
Yeah.
But that was a part that I really liked, is Brad Pitt and Damson Idris having to figure out how to be a team, and one of them kind of sacrifices a little bit to elevate the team's performance and get points and get more money, whatever. So I think that stuff was all really great. The score for the movie by Hans Zimmer.
Completely did not know. Didn't even pick up on that or think about it until when we were watching the movie and the title credits are going up, and I was like, oh shit, he did this? Hell yeah. And there's a couple of times, especially during the race sequences, obviously, that are really just something awesome. I was going to listen to it as I drove home back from the theater today, and I completely spaced on it. But the score is pretty spectacular here, too. I really dug this movie as well. Honestly, the way people have approached this movie and described this movie and for those that have seen it so far, I feel like it's been very much like, if you like Top Gun Maverick, you're going to like this. It's just now in cars. The story is still kind of basic. I've heard some people say that the story is really lacking or bad, and for me it worked just fine. It is like you've seen a racing movie or a sports movie, and you get kind of that vibe or that kind of platform for how this is really going to go, and you kind of know all what's going to happen. There are some decent surprises. One that towards the third act or later portion of the movie that we both were just like, I don't know if this was necessary or this aspect. Overall, yeah, I was blown away. I loved this. It was just an adrenaline rush the entire time. There were many times during the race that I was just like, my heart was going, and I was just like, oh my god, this is a fucking movie, chill out. Brad Pitt's great. They do a great thing with his character where he is like not new, but coming back to the F1 world after like a 30-year hiatus. He's done other types of racing, and he has kind of his own baggage that he brings with it to the sport. And I was really intrigued by that because going into it, he's kind of going back and forth with Damson Idris, who plays the young hotshot, the new rookie for this racing company. And I was like, I just don't want Brad Pitt to come in, big swinging dick, and just have him be God's gift to racing and be like placing number one the entire time. Like, I don't want him to just come in and be the best racer ever. And he's not. They do a good job at developing him and making him like a realistic racer. And there's the only portion that I would say to this movie that was like really a negative for me, aside from like what I kind of anticipated and expected with the story, was there's some car wrecks in this movie. Not that any of them look bad. They all look phenomenal. But it just kept happening around the same area on the track. Like, you never really see a lot of the car wrecks happen on a straightaway. It's usually on like a corner or a tight turn when someone's trying to overtake and get an advantage on someone, and then they'll bump tires and someone fucking flies, which is cool. But in the movie, it kind of got to me. But then I also had to realize, I'm sure in racing, this is also the trouble spot. Like, no one's having like an issue on a straightaway unless they're an idiot. But if they're on a corner and trying to overtake someone, that's usually where someone's going to fuck up and get just flung into the stand. So it was an issue that I had while watching it, but then thinking back, and I'm like, well, this feels realistic. Maybe it's a little repetitive in the movie, but it feels realistic.
Yeah, I also love that Brad Pitt didn't come in and was just like you said, just the A-list fucking racer and killing it all. Like, he's, for the first part of the movie, he's kind of just fucking around and like hanging back and fucking up all the other drivers and like getting the emergency vehicles out so they can do a little bit better. So I like that he wasn't just number one all the time.
Yeah.
And I actually, the story, like you mentioned, is generic. You've seen this before in a sports racing movie. But I think they do enough with Brad Pitt and Kerry Condon, both of their characters, their relationship. They have a good dynamic throughout the movie where they kind of talk about their past, and you get the basics of it. It's, troubled past or divorces, whatever. And Brad Pitt has just been on the road, just like doing any races he can do, gambling, losing girlfriends left and right, whatever. But he's still just fucking awesome, and he's Brad Pitt, so he's just hasn't aged in years, which is crazy.
He's gonna look as amazing as he does now. He's gonna look the same age, I feel like, till he's dead. Like 100 years old, like easily.
When he does World War Z 2 in like 20 years.
Yeah, David Fincher's just like,
awesome.
Maybe I'll help with this one.
Yeah.
It was cool. Javier Bardem was also great. We had a sweet little Shea Wiggum appearance in the first 5 minutes because he can't not be in a movie. He is in everything, I feel like, him and Paul Walter Hauser, which I'm not complaining about. I do love both those actors. Shea Wiggum is great in the small amount of screen time he has. But Damson Idris was such a surprise. I don't know if he's been in much aside from this, or if I'm just like completely new to him, or if he's new to the world. But he was phenomenal. I really loved him in this movie, and I'm already excited for where he goes next in terms of this, because I'm like, you're going up against Brad Pitt. Javier Bardem is like a second tier character, but how are you going to hold your own? And he does a phenomenal job. And I think that there's a lot of cool dynamic between like the bickering between the two of them, and the dynamic of like, you're an old head and you're like supposed to be this hot shot, like, what, I'm not gonna bend it. There's that line in the trailer, like, I'm not gonna bend a knee to some old guy just out of sympathy, like, you're gonna earn this. And I like their back and forth and kind of their eventual camaraderie and how they both push each other to be better racers, and not only that, but a better team. When Brad Pitt shows up, he's just like, he resets the culture because he's coming into a racing team that's fucked. Like, they haven't won a single match. They're on the verge of being sold because they haven't won a race or placed really anything in the past 3 years. And then Brad Pitt comes up and he just kind of reestablishes like a new racing culture of like, all right, how are we're gonna race against, we need to beat the other guys. Like, not only that, and that kind of plays into how they race of, one guy's going to be the defense guy. One guy's going out there to kind of make sure the other guy goes far and fucks up everyone in the back six. Like, he's just messing with people, which was really fun to see. So I was really pleasantly surprised by the racing in this. I went in knowing, like you were kind of talking about, and expecting that spectacle that comes with like Joseph Kosinski directing Top Gun Maverick, and it looks great. But also really surprised by the planning and the preparation and the strategy behind a lot of these racers and how they kind of set up. So I was blown away by this movie.
Yeah, I also really liked how this movie ended, or how I should say, who wins the race. I was actually really down for that because it kind of sets up in a typical racing movie like who would normally kind of win, with like an older guy and then a younger student coming in. I won't spoil it, obviously, but I really dug it. And then just after the end of the race, how that wraps up too, and what Brad Pitt does.
Yeah.
I really dug it. I was like, this is just really cool. And he's just kind of doing his thing.
Yeah, just wandering.
Yeah, so I think this movie is great. You mentioned before just a little flaw we each had. It's like kind of going into the third act. There's the conflict that you see in a lot of these movies. And that's one part of the formula for this movie that I'm like, oh, we could have went away from that.
Didn't need it.
It's just like a member of the board kind of getting involved and like it breaks up the team for a little bit and then they get back together, and it's just too quick of a thing for it to really have any impact.
Yeah.
So I would have been fine if them just clipping that out of there, or just kind of writing around that in a different way.
Yeah.
But this is a great movie. Really an awesome summer blockbuster. It's Marvel in directing, even if it doesn't stand out as much as Top Gun Maverick maybe with some of those plane sequences, it still is really impressive. And I hope Joseph Kosinski keeps doing a lot of stuff like this, or whatever he wants to tackle. Honestly, I'm down for it. So I think this is great.
If the Mission Impossible franchise was still chugging along, which we've talked about a lot and ad nauseum, so we won't. But like, he'd be that's a kid. He'd be awesome to continue on with that franchise. One thing with like the some negatives that we've had, I still wouldn't say that this movie was too long. Like, it was 2.5 hours long. It flew by. I could have watched. When you're in the thick of it, the movie is really fast paced. And a lot of races are happening pretty quickly. If this movie needed to be 8 hours or a limited series, I would have happily sat down and watched all of it. I was never bored in this movie. There are some downbeats, or like the kind of formulaic of like a falling out between characters that you know are probably going to make amends at some point towards the end. And a lot of that stuff does come to fruition, but no complaints. Wasn't too long. I thought it completely earned that runtime, and I was never bored. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Going into a movie that I don't think necessarily earned its runtime 100%, is M3GAN 2.0, which I wasn't really planning on rushing out to go see. We did bring it up last week that it was releasing, and we did see M3GAN, the first one, M3GAN, back when that originally released. And I was kind of lukewarm on that movie. It's not a movie that has blown me away, even though it has like a 93 or high 90 or low 90% on Rotten Tomato. Which isn't end all be all, but a lot of people kind of have a high regard or at least a good time with that movie. M3GAN 2.0, I think the reviews are a little bit lacking or a little bit lackluster in comparison to the first one. But I actually enjoyed this movie a good amount. I did mention it's 2 hours, which isn't like the longest movie in the world, but I think you have to justify your runtime. This movie felt 20 minutes too long. Like they could have reined it in a lot of places. And I'm not going to sit here and defend and say that this movie's fantastic. It's not. It is so stupid at times. Most of the time, not some of the times. Most of the time, it's really dumb. They do kind of do that Terminator 2 change in genre and make it more of an action comedy. But going into M3GAN 2.0, I knew that the comedy in the first movie didn't really work for me. So a cyborg saying vagina a bunch of times still probably wasn't going to make me laugh. I didn't laugh once in M3GAN 2.0. That's fine. I kind of knew that from the get-go. The action, I pleasantly was surprised by. It was engaging, enjoyable. There were some quick cuts, but some also decent and cool camera angles and cool fight choreography and designs. The movie asks you to just get on board with a lot of shit pretty quickly, and they don't explain a lot of things. Like, I don't want to spoil too much, but if you're really that excited for M3GAN 2.0, I feel like you probably already saw it. There's like a whole bomb shelter underneath their house that the main characters knew nothing of, but M3GAN put it there. But also M3GAN died, but she didn't. She's living within the computers and the technology of the house, almost like Smart House, that Disney movie.
That movie scared me as a kid.
Scared the fuck out of me too. I love that movie. I want to rewatch that. That'd be a good one to watch, especially in this M3GAN in like AI kind of
for sure
film blow up. But in this movie, there's a bomb shelter that none of the characters knew about, only M3GAN, who has lived not in a body, not in a physical form. So I'm like, how did this bomb shelter thing happen? How did it get built and constructed? There's a lot of shit down here. How did all this stuff get down here if she's not like a physical body? Anyway, there's a lot of things that, as it happens in the movie, I'm like, I could ask a question about this or be like, this doesn't make sense. but also I'm picking my brain too much on a movie that I don't think is that smart. And that's like I don't need it to be. It was just I wanted to go see a movie in theaters. I enjoyed it enough. I left thinking I actually enjoyed the second one more than the first, which is kind of a rare thing to happen. Not the best film, not a good story at all. There's a good, at least I think, a good addition of Jermaine Clement in the film. He is, of the characters and of the parts that could have been funny, he was that was the closest to making me laugh. If you're a big fan of M3GAN, the first one, you might like M3GAN 2.0, but I've also seen people that love the first one hate this movie. Completely get it. Again, I think it was enjoyable enough. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever made, or it's not like top half the movies I've seen this year. But it was a fun enough time. I'd recommend it to you just because I'd be more interested to see what you think, because you and I both saw M3GAN and kind of had that same response to it, of it being just like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And with this being kind of not a polar opposite, but a complete shift in tone and in style to the first one, and how you would react to it too.
Yeah, I plan on seeing it tomorrow. And I enjoy the first movie, and I think that it struck a good tone in that movie of like some dark humor and some fun horror. I think it was a pretty good like entry level horror for people looking to get into that. This one looks just kind of batshit insane at times.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited to see, and kind of I've had these expectations going into it where I'm like, I know what to expect for this movie.
Yeah, the story is very convoluted. It's way bigger than it should. Like, the scale of this story is way bigger than it has any right being. They really make it into a full world AI thing of like, oh, AI is going to ruin the world. Almost like a mini Skynet. And I'm like, settle down. Settle the fuck down.
Yeah. Are you excited for the spin-off of this franchise called Soulmate?
Is that like a direct spin-off of this?
Of the M3GAN franchise, and I had just looked up the synopsis here again because I wanted to get it right. It is a man acquires an artificially intelligent android to cope with the loss of his recently deceased wife. What do you think he's going to do with that thing, huh?
It's going to be crusty those first couple of days. It's going to be bad. That better be That's another thing that holds this franchise back. It's PG-13. They try to push the envelope as much as they can with PG-13. But make these movies R and go batshit insane. Like, if you want to do this premise, do it right, go crazy. I get that the first one made a lot of money and it was PG-13, so maybe you want to stick with that. But I think if they freed themselves up to just, we're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, and let's just be violent and disgusting, fuck it, let's do it. Which I feel like Soulmate probably could be an NC-17 type movie.
Get Sydney Sweeney to play the Soulmate.
Dogs barking in the cinema. Just people going crazy. Oh no. Corey, talk about the other movies.
Yeah, sorry. We last Sunday after we recorded, actually, we went and got some Cane's, some Raising Cane's chicken, which I guess is not everywhere, but best fucking chicken.
Oh yeah.
It's insane. Got a Caniac combo, sub the slaw for extra Texas toast, a little extra cane sauce. You know the order.
I had Cane's twice that day.
You ended up getting it later?
Yeah, because So we got Cane's before the movie or after the movie?
Before.
We got Cane's, watched the movie, and then I drove Corey back home, and I started heading home, and me and my wife hadn't had dinner planned out for that night, and I was like, well, what do you want? She's like, Cane's. And like, I don't eat Cane's a whole lot, but I always eat it with Allie, my wife, like once or twice a month. And I knew if I told her I'd already eaten it that day, she'd been like, you got it without, like, kind of probably pissed off a little bit. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay, send me your order, I'll go pick up Cane's. And I was like, I went in there with the idea of like, I'm just not going to get Cane's, I'll just tell her I had popcorn at the movie and I wasn't hungry. But then you walk in and you smell it. I'm like, oh.
Did you go back to the same one?
No, thank God. I don't need people being like, weren't you here earlier?
Fucking fat ass.
Yeah. So I had Cane's twice that day. I felt like shit, but I was so happy. I was just so greasy that day.
Oh, yeah. So it was great. But anyways, the movie we saw after that was Elio, the newest Pixar movie, the 29th Pixar movie, which is crazy. And I want to give a shout out. You know this person a lot from going to AMC theaters. The AMC in Rosedale, but there's a guy named Gus that works there. Just a delightful dude. I've seen him the last couple times going to movies with Mason. But he was giving out these little like pins, these Pixar pins. And he's just always so excited about the movie. He's just like, oh, like, can't wait to hear what you think about it afterwards. We come out, he's like, Mason and Mason's buddy, what'd you guys think of the movie? And it's like, oh, it was good, Gus. And he's like, awesome.
The first time I ever met Gus, I was going to go see The Brutalist, and I had AMC stubs at that time, so like when you go in with stubs, you have your ticket reservation, you show them that, and they usually ask to see your ID. So I showed Gus my ID that first time, and he was like, nice facial hair, good looking guy, handsome, and you enjoy your movie. And then I went and saw the movie, and I came out, and he remembered my name, and he was like, Mason, what'd you think? And I was like, God, this is the best. Like, the best movie theater worker I've ever known. And I worked at a movie theater. Like, he's so nice. And it makes me so happy going to see a movie. And he's like, oh, you don't need to show me your ID. I know you. I'm like, thanks, man.
Yeah,
like,
just a great dude. Makes the experience better. But yeah, they were giving out these cool little pins. For all the audio people, it's got one of Elio and his little buddy Glorden, this furry little fucking worm.
See, I liked this movie, and I don't remember any of the characters' names.
Yeah, and I got one for Cars with Lightning McQueen and Mater. Mason got a Toy Story 1, dropped it in the crack
I
of the
was so
seat.
excited about it, and I dropped it immediately into the crack of the seat, and I was like, fuck, like, damn it!
You didn't even try and look for it. You were just like,
no, because I saw it, and then I did the thing where I reached for it, but by reaching for it, it just jammed
Went
that
further.
shit so far down. And I was like, I'm gonna have to upend this seat to try and get to the stupid pin.
Yeah, so, I don't know. That was a cool little fun bonus. We saw it on the Dolby Cinema screen, which always sound fucking great. They do that little ad before where it, like, runs around your head, and the sound is all around you or whatever.
Hard before a kid's movie. I hate you.
So Elio is the 29th Pixar movie. Like I said. So yeah, Elio is he's a space fanatic with an active imagination, and he finds himself on a cosmic misadventure where he must form new bonds with aliens and navigate a crisis of intergalactic proportions and somehow discover who he's truly... You gonna be alright?
I just learned how to ride a bike, and now I'm talking about boners at a kid's movie.
You really double down on that again. You really...
He wants to be abducted.
So Elio wants to get abducted by aliens, and he does. And you know what? This movie, I enjoyed a good bit. And I haven't thought about it a lot in this last week, but I think it's a solid Pixar movie, but it's not a top tier one for me. I appreciate that it is an original story. I feel like, box office wise, it's not doing too well right now, which sucks because I think that's why we keep getting Incredibles 3 and Toy Story 5 and the Frozen 2s of the world. Or Frozen 3s, excuse me. So just all of that kind of bums me out that this movie's not doing well. Because this movie kind of won me over as we were watching it. I started out and I'm like, kind of having a hard time getting into it really. But I think the strongest part of this movie was the relationship with Elio and his aunt. Yeah. I really liked that over the course of the movie. Elio lost his parents early on, so his aunt is looking after him, voiced by Zoe Saldana. And I like their bond over the movie. And then you get Glorden, the little fucking worm with no eyes and fur.
Get in my mouth.
Get in my mouth. We referenced that a couple weeks ago. And they have a sweet little friendship. But, I don't know. This movie, I think, is a really cool, fun, cosmic idea for a Pixar movie, which we haven't gotten a ton of. We had WALL-E a little bit and Lightyear, kind of. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, it was kind of cool to see Pixar in space. And even though it was in this like intergalactic council and all these different species, it felt a little small scale.
Yeah.
Where it was just kind of on this one like base, one ship, whatever. And I wanted a little bit more exploration of like, what do these different worlds look like? Let's go fucking portal jumping like we do in the MCU and like see what all these different creatures look like. Mm-hmm. But overall, a good time. There are some funny moments that you and I both laughed at that I don't even know were meant to be funny, but just to us was really funny.
Can you remind me of them? Because I don't
So there was the one where there's a thing that the aliens can make where you clone somebody, and then Elio sends back his clone to Earth and to live with his aunt so she doesn't know that he's not there.
Up in space.
And it's not even like that funny. It's when I explain it, you're gonna be like, whatever. But the aunt grabs a piece of his hair to try and like test if it's him. And the hair gets away and it's just inching across the floor. It's just trying to get back to the clone Elio's head.
Just seeing one strand of hair just like inchworm all the way up something was just so funny to us.
And there was also this guy that worked at like whatever the NASA or like space fucking job that they had in this movie, who was just really hyped up on the computer and was helping him out getting through this asteroid field. and he just splashes himself with soda because he's just so fucking pumped. And we just lost it in the theater. But yeah, I don't know. It was a fun time. Fun seeing it with you. It's a solid Pixar movie.
There's another big laugh with that clone when it goes into like a decaying state. Its mouth does a weird, loud, twitching reverberation thing, and the eyes go like dead straight. I about came unglued in the theater. That was so funny and wild. I enjoyed this movie pretty well. I didn't have high expectations. I hadn't heard like anything really great about it. I was excited to see more Pixar space just because I am one of the people that I think thinks Lightyear is underrated. I really like Lightyear. My biggest gripe with this movie is mostly the aesthetics or the look of a lot of the aliens and stuff. It's just like too cute and cuddly for me. And not that you can't have aspects of that, it just all has that same kind of sheen and look to it where I'm like, this doesn't feel like out there enough or outlandish or kind of like, I want to go more into like potentially like the creepy aspect of like intergalactic space travel and maybe see what else is out there. But overall, I thought that this was a surprisingly touching movie. I enjoyed Gordon. What's the dad's name?
I forget
because they're so similar to me that Crayon.
Oh, Craig. I was gonna say Craigle. That's from Lego Movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
But
Brad Garrett voices him.
Yeah. I liked the characters. I had a good enough time. The effects for space, like the animation, looks insane. It looks almost photoreal at times, especially when it's just Earth that they show. I'm like, holy shit.
There's even stuff of him on the beach too, with like the sand and water that looks great. But yeah, I think this movie has a good message too about being kind of different and finding your place where you fit in. There's a line, I don't remember what it is verbatim, but it's at the end of the movie, and one of the aliens is like, to Elio, he's saying, you know, even though you're unique, sometimes it may feel like you're alone, but you're never actually alone. Like, there's always other people out there for you. So that was kind of what I was speaking to, of like it working better as it went along. I'm like, okay, I actually dug this movie. So yeah, it's a fun time.
It kind of felt like a throwback, like 80s, 90s.
Amblin
type story, just within the world of Pixar. So for that aspect, it worked for me, and I did enjoy it, and I'd recommend it to go see it, especially with its kind of so far poor performance at the box office. I think it definitely deserves more, especially with, like Corey said, it being an original Pixar story. A movie that I caught up on this week, kind of in preparation for Jurassic World Rebirth coming out this Wednesday, because it's a holiday week. I went and finally watched The Lost World: Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg, which is the sequel to the original. This one is very Jeff Goldblum centered, which I love. You also got Julianne Moore, Pete Postlethwaite,
attaboy,
thanks, Arliss Howard, Richard Attenborough, and Vince Vaughn, which was actually a really cool addition to the cast here. And it's just it's a film based around the research team on this site of where these dinosaurs were being made, and I think it's Isla Nublar is the island that the park was on, and then this is Isla Sorna,
I think.
Sorna?
Yeah.
So I will never fucking have that straight, and I'm a fan of Jurassic Park. I really enjoyed this movie. It has some really good thrilling sequences, most of which kind of fall around that sequence of them going off of a cliff. And I feel like if you haven't even seen the movie, you mostly know this scene of Julianne Moore falling and landing on the glass and then trying to get off of it before it breaks. It is some pretty good thrilling sequences. It being Steven Spielberg, you do still feel a little bit of that magic, and the effects do feel improved, especially like the CGI at night tends to look better. There are some scenes where I'm like, oh, they maybe overstepped and thought the CGI was going to look better than it was, but it still has that charm of at least the original for me. I am of the mind that I think this entire franchise should not exist. I think you stop at Jurassic Park. That in and of itself is a great movie, and you don't need to continue on, because I feel like every later movie, and I haven't seen every sequel, but a lot of the big ones, or a lot of the ones that people I feel like even like more than the others, tend to just be a cycle of the same type of thing, of just, oh, dinosaurs are back, oh, they're going to invade land, or oh, we're going to try and sell them again, or we're going to militarize them. This franchise has ran its course in, I think, going back and forth in the same story, in the same cyclical bullshit of how can we make dinosaurs still a thing in this world. And I'm saying this as a person that is really excited to go see Jurassic World Rebirth in theaters, because I've never seen one of these movies in theaters. And as a fan of Jurassic World, I'm like, that's a pretty fun movie. But I think that this franchise could have been the one and done Jurassic Park, and I'd have been thrilled with it. But that being said, I am still really excited for Rebirth. Corey, what is your kind of running legacy or connection to Lost World Jurassic Park?
Yeah, I grew up watching this movie. The first three movies I watched all the time. Jurassic Park, much like Jaws that we talked about last week, is in my top 10 movies of all time. Lost World, I think, is a really solid sequel that is kind of slept on a little bit. I think it's a little underrated. There's a lot of good stuff. You mentioned the trailer sequence of it hanging over, and I like how long that sequence is, too.
Yeah.
It goes on for a while, and there's different elements to it, which Spielberg is always great at. And there's just fun stuff like the raptors in the grass, and then even though the end scene in San Diego feels like an added-on thing that I don't really need, I do like seeing a T-Rex just fucking up this town, a city, whatever. But yeah, this movie is a little bit different from the book, which I actually have read the two Jurassic Park books. And I really like the Lost World book, and I think there's a lot of really kind of darker stuff in there too, which is sweet, and they didn't quite dive into in this movie. But I still enjoy this one a lot. It is my second favorite of the franchise, and then Jurassic World would round out my top three. But yeah, it's a really solid movie. I'm glad that you finally checked it out.
Yeah.
And Jeff Goldblum's always great, and it was still in his kind of prime there.
Yeah, and he works as the lead of this, too, which I was really surprised by, because you don't get Sam Neill, you don't have Laura Dern, so it's just going in, you have like one of the main three. It's like going into a Star Wars sequel and you only have Han Solo, which you kind of get in Force Awakens at times, but going into this and only having Jeff Goldblum, I was like, is he going to be enough to carry this? And then once you get he is, and then you get the additions of Julianne Moore's character, who is really like optimistic, and her excitement about like the studying of these dinosaurs is actually really infectious and worked really well in this movie. Then you have Vince Vaughn, and I think the cast rounds out really well, but I think Jeff Goldblum does a great job to really lead this movie. What you were mentioning about the tail end of this movie, it does have a dinosaur on the mainland, which has never been an aspect of this franchise that I've ever needed and or wanted. I don't really care. Once dinosaurs get to the mainland, it's just, they're going to fuck us up until a tank takes them down or whatever. Like, I don't need to see that. I'm also not really interested in that. I love the idea of it just being like a park. But that being said, the effects for a lot of that stuff of the dinosaur, like you brought up, wrecking a bus, it was just insane, the work that they're able to get done. And that scene alone of that dinosaur just side-swiping a bus, I'm like, that belongs on the same shelf as a lot of the big, awesome shots within the first classic Jurassic Park. Like, there are some really awesome sequences within this movie that I think hold up. The movie overall doesn't hold up to the first one, but like you were saying, it is very, I'd say, underrated in terms of the Jurassic Park franchise. I still haven't seen Jurassic Park 3. Don't know if I'm going to revisit that one ever. And I've heard that the sequels to Jurassic World are ass. So we'll see if I try and watch one of those this week in preparation for Rebirth, or if I'll just go back and watch Jurassic World again.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I am really excited for Jurassic World Rebirth, which we'll talk about more later.
Yeah. So this week I only watched the two movies, but I was kind of on a TV kick. We mentioned that Ironheart, the latest Marvel show, is out, and the first 3 episodes are out right now, and the next 3 are going to be coming out next week. And not good. I didn't like this one. I actually enjoyed Ironheart in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Yeah,
I thought Dominique Thorne was good as that character, and I think that is what carries over into this show, is that she is still a very likable and charming lead, and I would love to see her pop up in other things. It's kind of how I felt about Miss Marvel, where I really liked that casting of the main character, and liked seeing her pop up in other things, like in the Marvels when she was in there. Like seeing her as part of a bigger group, and I think that would work fine for Ironheart. She doesn't need her own show, because I just don't care about this show. And the first 3 episodes is really like her getting expelled from MIT, goes back to Chicago, and then she's trying to build an Iron Man suit, obviously, and just upgrading it and whatever, and trying to get more parts, but she needs money to do it, and she doesn't have it, so she joins this heist group that Anthony Ramos is a part of. And I just never quite bought into the idea that she, as like a very good person and with good intentions, would join this group that from the get-go was very bad. It's not even like she joins and they're like, oh, we don't know what we're doing really. Like, from the get-go, they're like, no, we're just stealing shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't buy that you would be doing this from the start. And very clearly, Anthony Ramos, he's the Hood. He's got some weird mystical shit going on that maybe it's Mephisto. I don't know. He's been teased for years in the MCU. WandaVision.
Yeah, every Disney Plus MCU show.
Yeah, so maybe we'll learn more in the last 3 episodes, but I think he's fine in the show, too. I'm kind of sad that he's getting wasted in this a little bit.
Yeah.
Alden Ehrenreich is also in here. I won't spoil who his character is, but he's kind of a black market like tech dealer. He has a bunch of gear that he's working with Riri Williams in the show. And again, like, I love Alden Ehrenreich. I think he's great. But just to see him in a role like this, I'm like, you could be doing something really cool in a movie or a different show.
Be a good Cyclops if they ever recast Cyclops.
Yeah, that'd be really great. So yeah, these first 3 was just a slog to get through. I just don't think it's written very well. It's just very corny dialogue, and I just really don't care about it. I will watch the last 3, which...
To finish it out,
Yeah, finish it out, which is a fatal flaw of mine, because normally anybody else that's like, I don't like this, I'm not going to finish it, wouldn't keep watching. But just to see how it plays out, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of it. I might at some point, I don't know. The one thing that you at least have to potentially look forward to with finishing it out is that everything that I have seen in terms of reviews or reactions to the show is that the finale or the final episode really is great. And it kind of justifies at least this show's existence, maybe, hopefully. The one thing that I don't get, and coming from someone who hasn't watched it, the reasoning behind, like, she needs money. She needs to build this suit. It's like, I'm sorry, weren't you, like, Shuri's best friend in Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Shuri, the leader of Wakanda, like, of unlimited money, wealth, and resources. You can't like dial a friend and be like, hey, like, I need help building this one fucking Iron Man suit. If the show, because I haven't seen it, if the show doesn't try and make an attempt at answering that and making it like, oh, well, she can't because of this, even if it's a shitty reason, at least acknowledge it. If they don't, then fuck it, like, I don't care.
They don't explain that, really. She just gets kicked out of MIT and then goes back home.
What's the reason why she gets kicked out of MIT?
She is, like, helping... she's, like, plagiarizing stuff for people, so they give her money, like, doing papers and all kinds of other projects for her, whatever. And then they find out she gets kicked out. Also, I'm going to spoil the end of the first episode. So there's a backstory where Riri Williams, it's her stepdad and her best friend were killed in a drive-by shooting.
Are you talking about
Natalie. So Natalie was her friend that was killed, and they bring her back in this, like, AI, like, projection form, and she's just always there with her. And they just go out in public and do all this stuff, and then around Riri's mom, who also knew her very well, sees her and is just like, oh, that's crazy, you can do that with technology. Not being like, holy fuck, like, that's, like, my daughter's best friend that's back in front of me right now.
You're not concerned by that at all either?
Yeah, it's very just brushed over, and just bring her out in public. Like, nobody sees that, like, this girl's dead, and, like, nobody knows her around here. Like, it's just a weird thing, and just, I don't know. I don't really dig it. It's like an elevation of Jarvis, like, even beyond, like, Vision, kind of. It's like a different thing, where it's, like, still part of the suit, or, like, her necklace that has to be projecting it. It's a weird fucking thing, and I didn't like it.
I feel like that just feels unnecessary. And I also really dug Riri Williams. I dug her introduction in Wakanda Forever, and actually I really liked her portion of that movie, which the movie is a bit uneven at times. I overall liked it, and I think she was a great introduction. And I was on board. The fact that Ironheart's coming out now, and it's almost doesn't look like it's going to have, like, a big effect on what we're getting in terms of the grander, bigger, larger MCU story, feels kind of weird, and from the sounds of the story, it doesn't feel pertinent or, like, time sensitive. Like, I need to rush out and see this right now because it's going to build into something or it's something important. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll see Ironheart. Maybe I'll just make it depend. I did make a promise. Corey reminded me last week that I'll give it at least a 2-episode chance. So I think I should do that at least. But maybe you'll like the latter half, and it'll give me a little bit more of a boost to actually sit down and watch through it.
I hope it's good.
Yeah.
But I'll have a review for those next 3 next week. But a season of TV that I really, really liked and have been meaning to catch up on for a while is The Studio, which is directed by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, and stars Seth Rogen along with so many cameos throughout Hollywood that I'm not even going to name them all. But the main crew is kind of Kathryn Hahn, Ike Barinholtz, Chase Suey Wonders, and then Seth Rogen. And Seth Rogen becomes the head of this new movie studio, and it's really just navigating this culture through kind of a comedic lens. But it also has a lot of good moments of showing the light and dark sides of Hollywood, and feels very meta, obviously. The first part of the first episode, Bryan Cranston's the CEO of the studio, and he tells Seth Rogen, like, I'm promoting you right now, but we're making a Kool-Aid movie. This is happening, like, this is our thing. Like, they reference it, like, Barbie made $1 billion, we're making $1 billion with Kool-Aid. And that's kind of, the whole show's not just about that one movie, but they reference it a lot of times. And it's just so, like, funny, and actually probably what a lot of studios are right now, even saying after watching the show, like, oh, we could do a Kool-Aid movie, like, it could work. But I absolutely love this show. I was telling Mason, it's not like a laugh-out-loud comedy all the time, and it does have some of that Seth Rogen humor, but it's not, like, completely, like, Pineapple Express pothead humor all the time. There's parts of that where they mistakenly take, like, 20 grams of shrooms, and they're just at this party trying to calm down Zoe Kravitz and also find Bryan Cranston, who's just around Vegas at this casino. And there's so many great things. Martin Scorsese has a great cameo in the first episode. There's a whole episode that is dedicated to figuring out if casting Ice Cube as Kool-Aid Man is racist or not. And it's just 30 minutes of them running around panicking. But there's also a lot of really good moments, too. There's one episode where Seth Rogen's he's with Rebecca Hall, who doesn't play herself. There's a lot of celebrities that play themselves in the show. But he's dating her, and they're at this, like, kind of doctor's gala event, and all the doctors are kind of shitting on Seth Rogen for being a movie producer and being like, well, what you do actually isn't art. Like, it's, you're making these dumb fucking Kool-Aid movies. And he's like, no, like, it's, what you and I do is very different, but it's still equally important. They're like, no, we're, like, saving kids' lives, we're doing this. And he's like, yeah, and when the kid's laying in the hospital, what are they looking at? A screen. They're looking at a TV. Like, they're watching what we're putting up there to make them feel better. So it was just a really nice balance of that fun comedy and poking fun at the industry, but also showing the kind of brighter aspects of it. And really, really good show. There's a lot of great camera work, which I didn't expect.
Isn't there a oneer episode?
The second episode is a oneer, and Seth Rogen keeps fucking it up. Greta Lee is just trying to walk through this room and get this scene done, and he just keeps messing with it, and it's great. But beyond that episode, there's a lot of long shots, not necessarily one takes, but just really great camera work going through this Hollywood studio and, like, on the back lot and everything, which is really great. And a lot of time and dedication went into it. You can tell the love that Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg had for this. And it got renewed for season 2. So, very excited. If you're a fan of movies at all, I would recommend this, because I think there's something there for you, whether you like that comedy or just to get a look at the business side of Hollywood, which is kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that's on my radar. I remember when it was coming out, everyone was talking about it, and that was also right in, like, the tail end of Last of Us. I feel like Last of Us season 2, and I was getting to my limit of how much TV I had consumed, because I'm not the biggest TV person. So I was needing a break, but Studio is definitely one of those shows that I'm going to go back and watch, just because I've heard nothing but phenomenal things, whether it's being really funny or a good ode to, like, the studio system and how films are developed now, as well as just poking fun at, like, and being meta with how things are done. So I'm really excited to watch it. I'm not surprised that you liked it as much as you do, and it's a glowing review too for me, so I'm really excited to sit down and eventually watch it.
Yeah, this is one that's going to pop up in the Emmys nominations. They come out in a couple weeks, so I think this could honestly win Best Comedy Series. I wouldn't be surprised by that, so that'll have a big presence there. But coming out this week, it's kind of a interesting release week with 4th of July being on Friday. A lot of the new releases are coming out on Wednesday, July 2nd. And the big one, which we mentioned before, is Jurassic World Rebirth, directed by Gareth Edwards, who I think is an incredible director. He's done a lot of great stuff. Obviously, Rogue One, Godzilla he's kind of most known for, but the creator is really good, and his first movie, Monster, is very low budget, but awesome. I love that movie so much. And he just has a great sense of scale, so it makes sense for him coming into this franchise with big dinosaurs. Brand new cast with ScarJo, Jonathan Bailey, Rupert Friend, Mahershala Ali. That's a sweet team to send out to an island, see some dinosaurs. This takes place 5 years after Jurassic World Dominion, And I mean, there's trying to get DNA from dinosaurs to heal some shit or whatever. It's the Jurassic World formula. Mm-hmm. I'm actually kind of excited for this one. The last two movies have not been good at all. And I hope that this one is better. And I think it will be. If it gets to the level of like a Lost World or Jurassic World, which I also enjoy, I'd be totally fine with that.
All right. I'm pretty stoked for it. Like I said, I'm really excited to go see it. It's going to be the first Jurassic Park movie I've ever seen in theaters. I already bought my ticket for this upcoming Wednesday, so I'm really stoked for that. I'm seeing it, I think, in a Dolby Cinema theaters or screen, so sound will be good. I'm really stoked, kind of going off the same sentiment of Gareth Edwards being the one directing. And also the story, while it does feel kind of like a retread and kind of plays into like a lot of my issues with this franchise, it feels like a retread of the Jurassic Park films. And even though I haven't seen all the Jurassic World movies, it feels like it harkens back to those films as opposed to continuing on with what the story eventually became with Jurassic World Dominion. So I'm excited to see, hopefully, kind of a return to form. Hopefully, I've heard really good first reactions, and I've also heard a lot of reviewers that I hold near and dear to my heart that hated this movie. So I'm really intrigued to see how this works for me, if it doesn't or if it does. I love the cast, Jonathan Bailey and Mahershala Ali are the two that I'm most excited to see, and I feel like Rupert Friend doesn't have a whole lot of, like, in terms of, like, big mass appeal, large roles. Aside, he was in Obi-Wan Kenobi and stuff, so I'm excited to see him have, hopefully, a larger role and be good in it. So I'm stoked for this. It's going to look great. Can't wait. It's definitely the movie for, I think, most of the people that are going to the movies sometime this weekend. This is the one that you're going to go see. If not, you're going to catch up on F1. You're probably not going to go see 40 Acres. That's okay. We saw it for you, a week or two ago. It's directed by R.T. Thorne. Not that it's a bad movie. It's just kind of a pretty generic thriller, self-contained to the most part, set in a post-apocalyptic apocalyptic world with a food scarcity and just this family trying to hold their own and survive amongst cannibals. We talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago, and we gave our review then. But if you're not feeling like you want to go see a big dinosaur movie, you don't want to see a big racing movie, you want something a little bit more quiet, but still relatively well made and good, 40 Acres I don't think is a movie that you should entirely sleep on. I don't know how big of a rollout it's going to have nationwide here in the U.S., so if it's in a theater near you, you wouldn't be doing yourself a disservice by seeing it. I maybe spend the money on F1, knowing how good that movie is and how much of a wild ride that is, especially set up so perfectly around the 4th of July. Go see that. That's such a great release plan. Same with Jurassic World. We have such a good July coming up too. But 40 Acres will be out in theaters this week in wide release, so definitely give it a chance if you're kind of interested at all, or if we've said anything to spark interest for you. I think it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah. And if you're not looking to go to the theater this weekend but want to watch some good Netflix slop, The Old Guard 2 is coming out for you.
Is the first one okay? I never saw it.
So I did see the first one. It came out in 2020, prime COVID. This was one of the first movies I remember, like, direct to streaming, like, during COVID that I watched. And it's kind of a cool concept. It's like these immortal warriors, and they're, I don't know, they basically can't die, but they're fighting these... you know what? It's been like 5 years since I've seen it. I'm not going to try and bullshit and remember exactly what it was about. Charlize Theron...
Geoffroy's in it. Fuck.
That's right. It does have a good cast. Charlize Theron's kind of the lead there. Uma Thurman's coming into this movie. And there was some fun action in it from what I remember of the first movie, and maybe it was just a lack of new things coming out. But, I don't know. I may check this one out just to see. I remember them ending on a cliffhanger in the first movie of, like, this kind of eternal threat coming back and, wreaking havoc for the crew. But that's coming out on Wednesday as well, so if you're looking for... something at home. Actually, no, there's a lot probably better things to watch at home. But if you want something new coming out at home, The Old Guard 2 coming out on Netflix.
Yeah. Is there kind of like, especially around this time of year, is there a go-to 4th of July movie, whether it's something that you saw in theaters or something that you rewatch? What is like your go-to 4th of July movie or movie for this part of the summer?
I mean, Independence Day, we talked about it before, is a very clear one. We were just saying, like, it holds up so well. That movie is awesome. The action in it is great. Randy Quaid.
Doing his weird shit then and still now.
Yeah, that's great. How about you? Any ones that stick out?
Honestly, the Jurassic... I'm getting a little bit of a Jurassic Park rush right now with the marketing for Jurassic World Rebirth, so I'm rewatching The Lost World. I wouldn't be surprised if I rewatched Jurassic World this week. Otherwise, I don't know. Anything, like... Top Gun is a good, like, that style, something that's fun, somewhat cheesy, formulaic, but just give me something that's fun, that's thrilling. Top Gun Maverick I haven't rewatched in a while, so maybe I'll throw that one in. I did, after this past week, pick up a couple of movies, which we'll talk in our physical media roundup with, which actually this is a pretty decent segue. Looking at movies that we purchased this past week, I bought the most movies in a given week that I've done so far, which I didn't set out to do. It just happened to me, I guess. It just happened to me. I'm not the reason why I bought all these fucking movies, but Jurassic World Rebirth coming out, I rebought Jurassic Park on a newer version of 4K. I also got Jurassic World on 4K because I didn't own that. The movie that I've also purchased and sold the most in my life, and now I've made it my duty to never sell again. It's a very love-hate relationship I have with this movie, but I need to stop spending money on this fucking thing and just keep it, because I'm probably going to buy it if I don't have it. I rebought The Matrix. I bought a steelbook of that. I will hopefully keep that in my collection for the rest of my life, because I'm fucking tired of buying it and selling it. Added that. That's also a pretty decent action movie. If I watched that for the 4th of July, it'd be a pretty good time. Bought Tron Legacy on Blu-ray. The purchase, aside from I pre-ordered the Thunderbolts steelbook as well, but the purchase I'm most excited for with this big fucking week of Blu-ray and 4K hauls is Days of Thunder, which is a Tom Cruise racing movie, which off the heels of F1, I'm just super stoked to watch more racing movies. So Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise, I'm just like, I need to see it. Also directed by Tony Scott, who I love, so I'm really excited to sit down and watch that. That might be my 4th of July movie this year. I might sit down after like all the fireworks, after all the beer and hot dogs, and watch Days of Thunder, which I've never seen. So super stoked. Bought 6 fucking movies this week. I will likely take a hiatus for a couple of weeks. But yeah, a lot of things that I'm really excited about. Days of Thunder will likely be my 4th of July watch this year, though.
Days of Thunder is sweet. I'm really excited for you to watch that one. And I know the next time that you move, you're going to be like, I need to get rid of some movies. The Matrix is first on that chopping block. I know you're going to get rid of it.
It usually is, but I know you own it. I'm going to just give it to you if I ever need to sell it, and then you can just give it back to me when I'm like, I need to buy it.
There we go. I'll just keep it for you.
Yeah, because I can't be trusted with it, apparently, because I'll think I hate the movie, and then I'll watch it and be like, no, I love this movie, and then I'll be like, I kind of hate it.
Interesting that that's the movie. Like,
it's not like a bad movie. It's objectively, I think, as close to like a good movie as you can get, especially in terms of how revolutionary it was with action and all that stuff. And it's a cool story. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes I just sour on that movie like overnight, and I'm like, I wake up one day and I'm just like, fuck The Matrix. Like, I hate that movie. And then I'll rewatch it, I'm like, shit's good.
That was just a bit at this point. That and Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day, fuck that movie. Like, I straight up hate that movie. I just keep trying to make myself like that movie, but I hate that movie. I will never like that. Matrix, I remind myself every once in a while, I'm like, fuck, this movie's good.
It's great. It's a good one. Actually, last week when we went out to see Elio, we also stopped at Half Price Books. I got Hitchcock, which I have never seen before, but this is kind of like a rare one to see. I feel like I don't really see this one in new stores, so I kind of look out for things like that where it's like a original slipcover too. I like getting the OG release of something, but I've heard pretty good things. It was nominated for a Golden Globe and for an Oscar as well. So
what was the Oscar for? Do you remember?
I think it was like costume design or something like that. But I like owning any movies that are nominated for Oscars. Got a great cast. Anthony Hopkins, just from the cover of it, looks like Alfred Hitchcock. ScarJo, Helen Mirren in there. So I'm excited to watch that eventually. Have you seen that movie?
No, but I'm a big Hitchcock fan. I grew up watching a lot of his movies. My mom is a big Hitchcock and like Agatha Christie, like murder mystery stuff. So like Psycho, I watched a lot growing up. Rope, North by Northwest, The Man Who Knew Too Much. Like, we're a big Hitchcock family. I still haven't seen that, and I was actually really excited when that was coming out. I just never caught it, so
yeah,
I might have to steal it from you, actually.
Excited to check that one out. But as far as things coming out this week, nothing too much. A few A24 releases. We've got Warfare, which is currently my favorite movie of the year. Mm-hmm. It's got a nice 4K and Blu-ray. They do them separately, and they have different artwork on both of them.
Which one do you like more of the artwork?
I think the 4K, from what I remember.
That's the face. Right?
Yeah.
The 4K is the face, and then the Blu-ray, I think, is them like moving
the soldiers
out into the
going
street.
through it. Yeah. I wish they did like a combo 4K Blu-ray together. But cool, they're doing different artwork. And then Death of a Unicorn also coming out, which I know you saw. Yeah. I have not checked out yet, but I think when it drops on like HBO, I'll watch it. see if I like it, and then maybe buy it afterwards.
It's definitely like not to be like it's worth watching on streaming just because that already feels like I'm giving it a C plus. But it's definitely, if you haven't seen it, it'd be a thing I'd rush to watch on streaming. It's a good enough time, and it's really enjoyable. And Will Poulter's hilarious in it. Warfare is going to be the one that I'm going to take a hiatus from buying movies, but that's towards the top of the list of movies I need to buy because that's also in my top 5 of this year so far. So. Great couple of releases. A24 releases are also spectacular. I keep looking at the Sebastian Stan movie. What was that?
A Different Man?
Different Man. I almost said A Dangerous Man. A Different Man.
Yeah.
And the release for that, I'm like, fuck, that's sick too. And I didn't even like fully love that movie, but I'm like, that's maybe I need to buy it. Also
wanted to shout out the Criterion sales going on at Barnes & Noble right now. I think it goes till like the end of July or mid-July, so... If you're looking to get anything 50% off Criterion, I'm sure they have some other sales going on too. Definitely go to Barnes & Noble and check that out.
Not to continue to eat up more time, but when you go to a Barnes & Noble, whether it's during the sale or not, is there a specific Criterion that you're like looking for? Like, what's your go-to now? Like, what are you on the search for every time? Or do you have one?
Currently, and I'm not happy to say it, but I'd get a Nora. Just to have a best picture.
I forgot that is a criteria.
Yeah, I like owning, like I just said, movies nominated for Oscars. That won a lot of Oscars.
Won best picture.
And I famously do not like that movie, but I do want to get that.
I want you to rewatch it. Not that I think it's going to move a whole lot for you. I just want to see if it's still the same.
You want to see me jump out of my window for real this time? Yeah? You want to see that, huh?
All right, we'll just leave it. Maybe don't touch that movie again.
Besides Nora, one that I do and maybe will get this summer is the Before trilogy. I love how that looks. I know you have that, and I love those movies, first of all, and just love that release of it as well. So maybe I'll try and prioritize those two this year.
Nice. Moving into movie news, we kind of touched base on this last week when there was a short list reported for the new Bond 26. Who is going to be the director for that film? Well, shortly after we, I think, posted our video and posted the audio and everything, they announced the director, which is one of the names we talked about in that short list, one of the names that we were really excited about. Director Denis Villeneuve, who is famous for any number of movies he's attached to. He is one of the best working directors today, but Sicario, Prisoners, Enemy, The Dune and Dune Part 2, Blade Runner 2049, Incendies, like anything this man touches turns to gold. And my favorite working director is now attached to my favorite film franchise of all time. I'm pretty stoked about that. But I'm also, this is going to be the 5th movie in a row, I think, of Denis Villeneuve making a franchise movie, which I'm not opposed to. Quintessential Denis Villeneuve is like that run of Enemy, Prisoners, Sicario, and Arrival. Like, that is such a baller run of original material, mostly original material. Arrival, I know, is based off of a short story, but I want more films like that. I'm stoked that he's going to handle Bond, and hopefully he only just does I'm fine with him doing one and kicking us off with a new Bond. The news that's really going to make or break this for me, though, is who is playing Bond. Because I don't want a Tom Holland, I don't want a young guy, I want someone a little bit more established, or at least, like, I don't want a Henry Cavill either. Like, I'm very picky with who plays Bond. Not that I'm going to, like, throw fucking stones with who they pick, but I'm a little bit more picky about it. Corey, how do you feel about the news of Denis Villeneuve taking on Bond 26?
I'm stoked. This is fucking awesome. I think that he is a great person to start this new era, and I think alleviate some of the concerns I had of, like, what's Amazon going to do with Bond? Like, are we going to do, like, weird streaming stuff, which they undoubtedly will do.
Right, yeah.
But I think a director like this who is so for the theatrical experience coming in, and even if he just does one movie and is a producer on following ones, what a great person to start this franchise, kind of like Martin Campbell did the last 2 times with GoldenEye and Casino Royale. So I think it's awesome. This movie is going to look incredible. Probably we've had some good looking Bond movies with Roger Deakins and stuff, but this is sweet. But like you said, the casting of James Bond himself is going to be a big thing. I also don't want Tom Holland. I like Tom Holland a lot, but not for Bond. I would love Will Poulter I think he'd be really cool.
Are you joking?
No, I think Will Poulter would actually be really good as James Bond.
I never even considered that. That's not like a bad take. That was just such a left field thing. I've never even heard about that.
I just think, he hasn't really been on a lot of lists. You see like Richard Madden, Aaron Taylor Johnson, all these guys.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like the same, like Richard Madden and Aaron. Those are like two always, I feel like, in the conversation, as well as like Henry Cavill. But like my issue with Henry Cavill or someone of that stature, I'm like, I need Bond to look like a spy. He could be fit, but I don't want him being the biggest guy in the room to where it's like the villains would be like, that's Bond. We need to kill him.
Yeah.
Like if Henry Cavill walks in the room and he's Bond, it's like, you're the threat. It's not like someone more nondescript or a little bit more, not plain looking, but someone that can blend in a little bit better. Will Poulter, that is such a wild take, but I actually think I fucking dig that. That's not bad.
I think he would be really good.
That's pretty sweet. Mine, I've always, and I like the idea of Penn Badgley for Reed Richards before they announced Pedro Pascal, but I also would like him as Bond. I love Penn Badgley. I think he is so sweet. I haven't even watched all of you. I've only seen a couple of episodes, but I'm like, I'm sold on this guy. That's kind of more my style of Bond. Someone a little bit more sleek, fit, but someone that, like I said, can blend in but can be suave and badass. I'd also be like super stoked. Is it Regé-Jean Page from Dungeons and Dragons and Bridgerton? If he was Bond, I'd be stoked with that. So that,
or even Damson Idris from F1.
Fuck it, do it.
I don't think he would be. Yeah, I think he'd be okay too.
That, and I don't need it to be a no-name either, and not that he is a no-name. He's just lesser known than like, say, a Tom Holland or something like that. So that's another thing. If Tom Holland or someone of that status were to get cast, I would be worried about believing into it as a new Bond, as opposed to like, oh, it's just Tom Holland playing Nathan Drake or playing James Bond or he's the Spider-Man kid. Like, not to throw hate on Tom Holland, I love him as Spider-Man, but I can't see that, and there's other echelons of actors that are same to him where it's like, if you were cast, I think your casting would be more of a distraction as opposed to you fitting into Bond. I didn't know Daniel Craig that well as an actor before I saw him in Casino Royale, and then I got to grow up with him as Bond, and I was like, boom, he's my favorite Bond. So I'm really excited to see who they pick, and that might kind of skew how I feel about Denis Villeneuve directing, but regardless, that in and of itself is a win. Just seeing how this franchise gets shepherded in. And I also don't know if they've ever mentioned if they're going younger, older, or what they're using for their kind of guiding bullet points for their new Bond, but I'm so stoked with the news of Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, good way to win over people that were maybe a little bit skeptical for sure. In other news, we have the Batman 2 script. Matt Reeves finally finished it. He posted a baller-ass picture on like Instagram of him just sitting with the script, whatever. Turned it in. And it's something we've talked about for a long time. I know a lot of people are very angry at Matt Reeves. Like, what the fuck is taking you so long?
Slightly me.
I have, like, yes, I wish we could have it sooner than 2027.
Yeah.
But also, I don't mind him taking time to write a better script instead of rushing it out because people want him to be quicker about it. I think take your time, and then if the movie comes out and it's great, nobody's going to care how long it took. So I'm excited that the script is in. There's rumors that, maybe they're scrapping this whole movie, blah, 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 whatever. I never really bought into that, but this is exciting news. I love the Batman from 2022, and I think there's a lot of really cool avenues they could go down with, like, they've mentioned Court of Owls maybe, or like bringing Mr. Freeze in, if you can do that in a more grounded way. I'm down for it. I'm cool with whatever Matt Reeves is cooking with this.
Yeah, I'm usually one of the people that I try not to harp on him too much, and then there's also reports of him potentially even having health issues. Like, the guy is kind of notorious for working slow, especially with scripts, but also I think with that, he's notorious for writing a low number of scripts in terms of low number of drafts, and I think he works to make a perfect first draft and then hopefully has minimal or very little revisions, so that this first draft is likely going to be as close to the story as it possibly can be before they take it to go shooting. So I'm excited. I'm happy that it's done. I feel like this has been a long time coming. I am not... You've brought it up a couple of times where it's like, once we get Batman 2, we're not going to think about this time that we've had between them. And, like, if you play that into, like, well, the 4 years between A Dark Knight Rises and Dark Knight, you don't really think about it a whole lot after you see the movie. So I know it's going to wash away, and now that the movie's likely getting some more good points and good moments of good progression of, all right, now it's beginning to happen. Like, production's going to start soon, hopefully. James Gunn's going to read the script, in which I'm really excited to see what James Gunn says, or if he has a reaction, or if he posts or shares any information about what he thought about the script. But I'm happy that it's finished. I'm excited that this is kind of moving forward. Batman 2022 is my favorite Batman movie. Not that I think it's the best made movie, but it's my favorite Batman movie, if that makes sense. So I'm really excited to see how they continue Robert Pattinson as Batman 2 and establish more of that like kind of classic Bruce Wayne that we know. So I'm a big fan.
I hope that this doesn't become the DCU's Batman. I've heard some chatter about that where people are like, well, this could be the same universe's Superman coming out. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't think that fits, even just from the trailer, seeing it like tonally. I don't need that in the same universe. Keep this in its own pocket, though.
Yeah, no, and I don't think that they will, and if they do, I think that's a huge mistake, just from what they're establishing with Superman and Creature Commandos and everything that's already came to what was established in the first Batman movie. I'm like, those are two wildly different worlds. Like, you don't try and bend or put a bridge between those. Those don't work, so I'm like, keep it separate. I think that they will. And I think James Gunn has established. He's like, yeah, I'm cool with Elseworld stuff. We got Joker Foley to do, which isn't necessarily something that was 100% underneath his rule in the DCU yet. But I'm excited to see more Elseworld stories within. And I was like, Clayface. Like, I still don't know if that's within the DCU or the Matt Reeves Batman saga. So I'm really stoked. And this is just a good step forward, though. In terms of trailers, I feel like we always have like 4 to 5 trailers that we talked about that were released in the given week. This week we got Strangers Chapter 2, which looks like utter dog shit. Fantastic Four dropped a new trailer. Roofman, Eden, and Begonia. Corey, of these trailers, which movie are you most excited about? Is there any, which of these that you've seen, I don't know if you've seen all these trailers, did you have a favorite as well?
So I'll just kind of go through them. Strangers Chapter 2. I saw the Strangers Chapter 1 2 years ago, whatever the fuck that was.
Skipped the fuck out of that movie.
Yeah, I saw it with my mom. She loves the original Strangers movie, and I do too. I really like the first one, so we saw that together, which was fun, but the movie wasn't that good. So yeah, trailer looks like ass. I'm not excited for it. The Fantastic Four trailer, I mean, a lot of the same stuff we've seen, but
Rockbeard.
We did see Rockbeard, yeah. We had a lot of them egging him on to say it's clobbering time, which I like Johnny just kind of like being the younger brother, like doing that. But my favorite part of this trailer is Silver Surfer, played by Julia Garner, coming down and saying, I herald his beginning, I herald your end, I herald Galactus.
Yeah.
That was some like Thanos shit when he's like, dread it, run from it. I was like, oh, this is working. This like sound of her voice I think is awesome too. So I was really pumped to see that, and I just cannot wait for that movie. The Roofman movie looks kind of fun. Channing Tatum plays a dude that I think it's based on a true story who like went on roofs and like broke into places, and he's in like a Toys R Us or something.
And he lived there for a long time, months I think.
Fun. Channing Tatum's a perfect person to do that. I love it. And then the Eden trailer, it's Ron Howard's new movie. You got Vanessa Kirby, Ana de Armas, Sydney Sweeney.
Just men barking in theaters.
It's going to sound like a dog pound in the theater. Yeah, it is going to be insane.
That is wild.
Oh, I don't even know what the movie's about. Don't even care. I'll be there to see it. Oh, that is going to be a glorious day. And then the last trailer, which, to answer your question, this is the one that was my favorite of this batch, which is Begonia, which was on my most anticipated list for the year. It's Yorgos Lanthimos' new movie. Emma Stone plays the CEO of this company. Jesse Plemons plays a guy who thinks she's an alien and kidnaps her. Awesome. That is perfect, and it's going to have the weird Yorgos stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for this movie. I can't fucking wait.
Dog hanging.
I love Kinds of Kindness. I know we differ on that one a bit, but I fucking love that movie. Poor Things is obviously great, so this one I am so stoked for.
Every once in a while I get like a thorn in my side being like, you should maybe rewatch Kinds of Kindness. Not that I thought that the movie was bad necessarily, it just didn't overall really work for me, but there are some hard fucking laughs in that movie that I haven't really had in a while, so maybe I'll revisit that. Because of that, and because of Begonia being a Yorgos Lanthimos movie, I didn't watch the trailer. I know the plot synopsis and what I'm going into. I just don't want to see anything. I just want to go in as blind as possible because I'm going to see it already. It's Yorgos Lanthimos, so you have my money. The Fantastic Four, what you were talking about with the Silver Surfer, I'm like, thank you. I think that and having that little bit of dialogue or her speech basically helps to outline what this movie is going to be about. Because we have the conception, not the conception, if we're lucky, we would get to see that. But the conceiving of Franklin Richards, the son, and then now the baby's born. So there's a lot of... Are you now registering what I'm saying? I was waiting for you to laugh this entire time. We won't see it. But we have a whole gestation period of a baby being conceived and born within a movie, and also Galactus shows up. So I needed to know, going into this trailer, what is the story? When does this take place? Is the baby only in Invisible Woman for like 6 months? Is it weird because they have superpowers? What happens here? But now I feel like her Silver Surfer coming down, I'm the Herald of Galactus, basically marking like, hey, you guys got time now. Like, he's coming. So they have time to prepare, and I think it kind of helps put a lot of the clips that we've seen into focus of like, what do we have coming? Are you going to protect us? Should we be afraid? And Mr. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic being like, I don't know. We're trying our best, dude. We don't know what the fuck's coming. So I'm really excited to see that, and I now have a better idea to feel like what the story is about. Stranger Chapter 2 trailer is dog shit. Saw that in front of the M3GAN 2.0. Wow. Can't believe that movie's getting made. Also, just... I have no skill behind the camera. You can probably tell from our angles for this. I think I could make a better trailer, let alone maybe even a better movie than whatever that looks like. Because, oh my god, so scary.
Hey, that's Rennie Harlan you're talking about.
Oh no, he's going to come get me.
Actually, if you want to be on the podcast, Rennie Harlan, we would love to have you.
I would fist fight Rennie Harlan. I don't condone physical violence, nor am I sending out a threat. But Rennie Harlan, if you make fucking Stranger Things Chapter 3, we might throw hands.
Stranger Things Chapter 3?
Oh,
if they make enough money for the Strangers Chapter 3, I'll fucking... I don't know.
Through the window?
I'll go through the window again. Yeah. With a Nora strapped to my chest like a bomb.
Good.
That will happen. Anyways. Some other movie news we had. A very weird sequel announcement that I never would have guessed. The Social Network 2. Aaron Sorkin, who wrote the first movie, is reportedly writing and directing the sequel, taking over the directing duties from David Fincher. Mm-hmm. I think that The Social Network, well, it is my favorite David Fincher movie, and I think it is one of, if the not most important movies of this century.
Yeah.
I think that it came out in 2010, and you could watch it today and still find eerie similarities between social media and how it has grown rapidly. I think that movie is so important, and everybody should watch that movie at least once in their life. I think it's just a masterpiece, and I understand where you could get the idea for a Social Network 2, but I think they said what they needed to say so well in that movie that it still holds up now and you don't need a sequel.
Yeah, and with Aaron Sorkin being attached to write and direct, I don't feel like the disconnect of not having David Fincher return. Not like, I love Social Network. I don't need a sequel to it, and like, I think I get what they're going for and what they might now explore with how it's how Facebook is blown up and now what we're dealing with today in terms of just AI and shit like that and social media. So I think there's a lot of avenues for them to take. I just don't know if, like you said, I don't know if this is 100% necessary to me. Like, I don't need to see this. Not that the movie's not in capable hands. Like, Aaron Sorkin, phenomenal writer, directed Trial of Chicago 7, which I loved. So it's in capable hands. I just don't know if I need the story. And kind of to go off of what you were saying about Social Network, the further we get from that movie, it's still scary. Like, it gets scarier almost. I think it still holds up exceptionally well. It's a well-made film. It is one of the best movies I think easily made in the last 30 years. So maybe just rewatch The Social Network and don't make the second one. I don't know. So it's interesting news, and it's also, kind of like you said, coming out of nowhere. Like, is anyone asking for this, or was anyone really excited about this or wanting this? So kind of going off of that, we had another sequel announcement, but this one makes a little bit more sense than The Social Network 2. Lilo and Stitch 2 is in the works, live-action adaptation. I don't know if it's going to be an adaptation of the sequel or one of the other...
Stitch Has a Glitch?
Yeah, Stitch Has a Glitch, or if they're just going to do a whole new story within the live-action. That's, like, the weird thing with me with these live-action remakes, then now having sequels, like How to Train Your Dragon 2. Like, are you just going to adapt the second one then, or are you just going to kind of build off of what you've established in the first one? I don't know. I still haven't seen Lilo and Stitch. I likely will. I feel like it's going to be a Disney Plus viewing for me, which is fine. And I know a lot of people have are butthurt about the way that movie wraps up. So maybe this will continue and maybe make a whole new story out of the way the first film wrapped up, and might kind of justify it for some people and make it a little bit better. So, Corey, what do you feel about, or how do you feel about Lilo and Stitch?
As long as we get Ruben, the experiment that makes sandwiches, see him in live action, just a yellow blob, whatever the fuck that looks like.
Buttering bread.
Oh man, it is so cool. If I see him, that'll make it a little bit better for me. But along, not along the same lines, along very different lines.
But more movie announcements that are just like, where the fuck is this
More
coming from?
movie announcements. Transformers, I guess we're getting a fuck ton more. I don't even remember what they all said. Josh Cooley, I think, is making a movie. I don't think it's a sequel to Transformers 1. I think it's a live-action Transformers that he's doing.
I heard about that.
Michael Bay's reportedly coming back.
Our lack of research on this also shows our enthusiasm about it. We're like, what the fuck? Like, all of these things are supposedly in the works?
Every year, there's Transformers announcements that they're like, we have 8 movies lined up.
Yeah. We had a writer's room with 80 people.
Oh, one of them was the Transformers and G.I. Joe movie. I do remember that.
That one, I think, is animated.
Is it animated?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I didn't read
We're the best to be
enough.
telling you about this. But I think that one was animated, and that one threw me for a loop, because I was like, why is Josh Cooley then making one that's not animated when Transformers 1 was animated? Because
at the end of Rise of the Beasts, when they... Spoiler alert, when they reveal that G.I. Joes are in this universe...
G.I. Joe, yeah.
That was wild, and I feel like nobody talked about that, really.
I was pretty stoked about that.
I was like, oh, fuck, okay, what does that look like?
But Rise of the Beasts is one of the better live-action Transformers movies.
What does Storm Shadow look like up against Optimus Prime here? What is that? How do we fight these guys? I don't know. Michael Bay's doing another one, because I guess he's needs some money or something. I don't know.
I think... I'm trying to remember the wording for the report on it, but he was like, I'm putting together, I have an idea and we're putting it together, and I will direct it if I deem it like fit, or if I think it's worth directing. I'm like, if you think The Last Night is worth directing, then you think anything is worth directing. So I'm just kind of counting it. If they're already looking into Michael Bay potentially doing a Transformers movie, I feel like that's a lock that is just inevitably going to happen, because if they're willing to give him the keys to anything, he's going to fucking drive it into the fucking ground, but he's going to drive it. And I love the first Transformers. That is another movie I watch typically around this time of year in the summer. It's like, all right, maybe I'll watch that for 4th of July weekend. But wow, how the mighty have fallen, and very quickly, from the first Transformers to Revenge of the Fallen, which is kind of fun. Dark of the Moon, and just progressively worse.
The last couple, like Transformers 1 and Rise of the Beasts, I enjoyed.
And Bumblebee was great, too.
Bumblebee
just no
good.
one saw it because everything else before it was ass, so they're like, I don't want to see
They were on
this.
like a good little run, so I don't know. Maybe some of these could be interesting, but not the Michael Bay one, I don't think.
Yeah. We did have a couple, aside from all the trailers, we had a couple of big posters dropped also, and we'll be getting a trailer for Project Hail Mary, the poster for which is astonishing to look at. So pretty. It is kind of in the same realm of the cover art for the book, so it looks like a slight adaptation there, but I'm really excited for the trailer, really stoked for that movie. I believe is it Phil Lord and Chris Miller, I think, directing that, so that's really really cool, and you got Ryan Gosling in that movie, a good sci-fi flick. That might be a movie where it's based on a book. I might try and read the book before the movie. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on it because it's written by the same author who wrote The Martian, Andy Weir or Andy Weir. And then we also got a poster for The Odyssey, which very much just looks like a fan-made poster for a Christopher Nolan movie with the same text or font as Oppenheimer. So, Corey, of these two posters, is there one that you like more? Mostly, I just want to get your thoughts on the Odyssey poster, just because I was like, is this real?
I thought it was fan-made, too, when I saw it.
I was like, that's it?
I didn't see it from an official account.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, it was like some random person, and I was like, oh, that's fine if you just made that, like, whatever. But then I saw it start popping up on, like, Vanity Fair and, like, all the Hollywood stuff. I was like, oh, that's not much to go off of there. I don't remember what the tagline was on it, but yeah, it's the same Oppenheimer font.
Which, like, a lot of the Nolan first announcement trailers and teasers typically have a lot of, like, that same minimalist style. And I remember, like, the Interstellar posters, so the announcement posters, and it's like, oh, what is this? And I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe it's lost its luster, or maybe it's just not a good poster. I don't think it is.
Hopefully we get a better one.
Yeah, we definitely will, but it's just, like, too little for it to be anything to me at this point.
Right. But yeah, the Project Hail Mary, like you said, that poster looks sweet, and I'm excited for the concept of that. I will not read the book before, but not because I don't want to. I can't read. So, I actually, I take that back. I did read The Martian. You mentioned that. And that's actually a really good book.
I can't read. It's great. Did you know I just recently learned how to ride a bike?
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you can't read and I can't ride a bike, God, we would have been unstoppable.
Oof, wow. Just, what was that? The Mighty? Was that movie called that we watched in, 7th grade? It was like the big guy and then the little kid on his shoulders.
That, like, runs him, basically?
Kind of like Ratatouille.
Oh, what a segue.
What a segue.
Good job.
Also another little rat pulling on some hair as he's trying to make stuff. But before we get into that, it's The Mighty? That was what it was called?
I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you were looking
at
up
Mighty and it just pulled up Mighty Ducks and I was like, that's a cool movie. And I stopped there.
Cool. Good research there. Anyways, we're a dynamic duo here. We kill it.
Fucking idiots.
But back to fucking Ratatouille. We got Ratatouille. Ratatouille.
Which everyone is...
Raccacoonie. If they
What
made
if?
Raccacoonie...
What if they put Raccacoonie in here?
That would be great.
It's a good thing Everything Everywhere All at Once made only like $100 million, which only makes it sound small, but like Pixar doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah, and also won a ton of Oscars, which is great. So I'd be down for Raccacoonie over Ratatouille 2, which I guess is happening. I didn't even know that until today when you brought it up. But where the fuck does this go, huh? What do we do here?
Well, okay, I found an article. I didn't copy or look or make note of any of the things that they talked about what would be the next steps in this franchise, just because I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't know if this is real. It is real, but I'm in disbelief and I just don't care. And I like Ratatouille. But it's like more of like generational food and like how stuff can be passed down from generation to generation. Generational trauma within a Pixar movie, except it's food. So, I don't know. Fucking give me just greasy ass Remy pulling on what is it, Linguini? What's his?
Yeah, Linguini.
I haven't watched that movie in so long.
It's been a while.
I think it's due for a rewatch.
Always crazy that the villain of the movie just doesn't want a rat in his kitchen, and he's the bad guy. He's like, guys, we kind of need a sanitary. Get him out. You're the bad guy. You're like, whoa, hold on a minute.
He's like, if a health inspector steps back here, we're fucked, and we're going under.
Everyone's like, no, leave the rat.
Yeah,
and they're like, what the fuck?
I wonder if Linguini is still with what was the short-haired lady?
She was fine.
Yeah, she was fine. I'm like, is Remy attached to Linguini during all acts, or is it just for cooking? Does Remy get the thrusts down? Or is that Linguini's just big fucking nose moving him?
Like, oh, wrong one. Oh. He has to keep the chef hat on. That's the only thing.
She's like, take it off.
I
like it off.
I can't take that off. I gotta keep it on. The hat stays on.
In other news, Russell Crowe is joining Henry Cavill's Highlander. I don't know if this is also confirmed or not. I think he's going to be playing Ramirez's character, which is the mentor to McLeod. You're a big fan of the Highlander movie. I like it, but I don't love it. You grew up with it because you're an old fuck, and you really like it.
You're a day older, you fuck.
I don't know. We're getting off the rails a little bit.
Explain the joke.
I don't have a good explanation to make it funny.
All right.
Just saying that you grew up with this movie and you love it. You suck this movie's dick, so...
Okay. All right. Let's take a step back. We're almost at the end here. No need to get nasty.
We are going.
Dude, this one McUltra has been just doing work today.
I'm so tired.
No, yeah. I love Highlander. I think Highlander's great.
I'm really stoked for a remake. Yeah.
I love the original. I actually like the sequels. I watched those quite a bit too. So
Highlander 2, what, The Quickening?
Yeah.
You like that movie?
As a kid, I was like, this is sweet. And there's some nudity in there that I really enjoyed. It's either that one or the third one. Hopefully enough people didn't make it to this point.
Oh, shit. Okay. So yeah, Russell Crowe's going to be in that. Okay. Thank you for sitting and having some liquor drinks with us for another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I might post reviews on Instagram if I care enough. I don't know. We'll see. F1 deserves a review. I don't know about M3GAN 2.0. So you can read my shitty reviews there. Corey does stuff on TikTok of which I know nothing of.
I have total control.
It's scary. Yeah, fuck it. It's not. Oh God. In the world of film, it's not just about what happens on what happens
Get
on
to
screen,
it, bud. Come on.
but also about who's sitting next to you in the theater.
Yeah.